On November 27, 1837, a violent earthquake shook the Indian Ocean near the Nicobar district in India. It was felt as far away as Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and Myanmar. The quake measured 7.4 on the Richter scale and had an even bigger impact on one tiny island off the coast of Myanmar. It literally shot up out of the ocean. A volcano that had been dormant for over 200 years blew its top, covering everything on the island in ash and rock. But today, the island is home to hundreds of thousands of seabirds and mammals like dolphins and dugongs. So how did life return to this volcanic wasteland? It all comes down to what scientists call pioneer species. These are organisms that are tough enough to survive in places where no life seems possible, which means they can live on barren rock. And these special species don't just survive, they also make it possible for other life to flourish. This is our story. Barren Island is an Indian Ocean volcanic island. It's around 100 kilometers from the Nicobar Islands and about 120 kilometers from Myanmar. In fact, it used to be part of Myanmar, but now it belongs to India. Geologically speaking, it's quite young. It first emerged from the ocean between 650 and 700,000 years ago, but then it disappeared again, likely after another volcanic eruption erased it from existence. It reappeared again around 136 years ago in 1787. That's when the volcano erupted for the first time in recorded history. The locals who witnessed it gave it a name. They called it Barren Island because they could see nothing growing there, only rocks and sand. So they thought it was a barren land. Then the island went quiet again until that big earthquake in 1837. When the earth shook, the volcano woke up. It was the biggest eruption in modern history. An estimated 1.6 cubic kilometers of ash and rock were blasted into the air. But it wasn't dangerous. The explosion didn't kill anyone because no one lived there. There were no people, plants or animals on the island, only rocks and sand. So no one was around to witness it. The eruption was so powerful that the shock wave circled the globe 3 times. When the dust settled, the island was completely covered in ash. But within 5 years, something remarkable happened. Plants began to grow on the island. Scientists were stunned. How could this have happened? The soil on the island was still covered in toxic ash and rock. There was nothing there that could support life. Yet the island was quickly colonized by hardy little plants that managed to put down roots in the barren landscape. Their seeds probably floated over from nearby islands and sprouted on the cooling lava. And though they grew slowly at first, eventually, they blanketed the island in green. Vines, shrubs, grasses, and ferns flourished. As more and more plants took root, small creatures started to arrive too. Insects crawled and flew over from nearby islands and found plenty to eat on the new plant growth. The plants provided food and shelter, so it wasn't long before small vertebrates arrived as well. Lizards scurried across the island, darting between the shrubs to catch insects and taking shelter in the many crevices created by the volcanic rocks. With insects and lizards came birds. They followed the lizards, swooping down from the sky to snatch them up. Then the seabirds arrived, attracted by the dense populations of insects and lizards. Today, the island is home to hundreds of thousands of seabirds, including lesser and greater crested terns, brown boobies, red-footed and Christmas shearwaters, common noddies, white-throated and black-napped storm petrels, and, yes, even frigate birds. In the skies above the island, there's also gray-backed and bridled terns, wedge-tailed shearwaters, common and Antarctic prions, and white-bellied and black skimmers. On the ground, the most numerous birds are the white-throated needletails. Up to 100,000 of these birds gather on Barren Island to nest, roost, and molt. But it wasn't just plants and birds that chose to make their homes on the island. Dolphins and dugongs made it their own too. Dugongs are large marine mammals related to manatees, and they love to munch on seagrass. They float past the island on their way to the mainland, where they can find ample supplies of seagrass meadows to nom on. Since they're not native to the island, scientists don't consider them a pioneer species, but they do play an important role in the island's ecosystem. Dolphins, on the other hand, are considered pioneer species because they regularly venture into shallow waters all around the island. Sometimes they swim close to shore in groups of up to 10 individuals. All these species chose to inhabit Barren Island, even though the island is still recovering from its massive eruption in 1837. So how exactly do they survive there? Take the plants, for example. When the volcano erupted, it left behind layers of solid rock and ash, making it hard for anything to take root on the island. However, over time, the harsh conditions on the island have favored certain kinds of plants that can tolerate high levels of salinity, intense sunlight, and poor soil quality. Scientists refer to these tough plants as halophytes. They've evolved to survive in salty environments like marshes and mangroves. They don't need much nutrition from the soil to thrive. And unlike most plants, they can actually use salt as a source of nutrition. Some examples of these super hardy pioneer species on Barren Island include herbs like Scrupia and Sesuvium, shrubs like Lumnitsera, and succulents like Sesuvium edmonstoni. These pioneer species pave the way for other life forms to thrive on the island. They trap wind-blown sand, creating small pockets of land. Over time, they stabilize the soil and gradually build up fertile layers that can support the growth of larger plants and trees. The vegetation helps retain water, further improving the soil conditions and creating a favorable environment for a wider variety of species to flourish. Animals living on the island also have to contend with the lack of fresh water. The only sources of water on Barren Island are rainwater and the ocean. Many animals, like the Indian flying fox and gray langurs, get most of their water from the fruits they eat. Others, like the dugongs, prefer to spend most of their time in the ocean, where they can easily access fresh water. The birds on the island have special adaptations to help them survive. For example, they often regurgitate stomach fluids as a way to get rid of excess salt. This helps keep the salt levels in their bodies low and prevents it from building up to toxic levels. Today, Barren Island is a great example of ecological succession, a process that describes how life evolves in an area over time. The concept of pioneer species is key to understanding ecological succession. Pioneer species are the first organisms that colonize an area, and they play a vital role in making it suitable for other species to thrive. On Barren Island, the initial eruption created a harsh environment with little vegetation and poor soil conditions. However, hardy plants like Sesuvium and Lumnitsera managed to survive and grow in these challenging conditions. These plants gradually stabilized the soil and created a foundation for the arrival of other species. As the soil improved in quality and larger plants took root, it created a more hospitable environment for animals such as lizards, birds, and dolphins to inhabit. Over time, this process has led to the flourishing of a diverse ecosystem on Barren Island, home to a wide variety of plant and animal species, including those that are now considered indicator species. Indicator species are those that serve as a sign of healthy ecosystem. To learn more about pioneer species, we spoke to two experts. Dr. Debal Dev from the Department of Zoology at the University of Calcutta has been studying the birds of Barren Island since 1989. He told us that while birds are not the first to appear on an island like Barren Island, they are among the earliest vertebrates to do so. According to Dr. Dev, birds play a crucial role in the early stages of ecological succession as they introduce nutrients into the ecosystem through their droppings. These droppings, also known as guano, are rich in nitrogen and phosphorus, which are essential for plant growth. By depositing guano on the island, birds help improve the quality of the soil and create a more favorable environment for plants to thrive. Additionally, birds can also disperse seeds through their droppings, contributing to the spread of plant species and the overall biodiversity of the ecosystem. Dr. Sudipta Sengupta from the Department of Botany at the University of Calcutta studies mangrove ecosystems and has conducted research on Barren Island. She explained that pioneer species like mangroves and halophytes are particularly suited to survive in harsh environments. These species possess unique adaptations that allow them to tolerate extreme conditions such as high salinity, low nutrient availability, and exposure to strong winds and waves. Mangroves, for instance, have specialized root systems that can filter out salt from seawater, enabling them to grow in salty coastal areas. Meanwhile, halophytes have mechanisms to cope with water scarcity and high temperatures, allowing them to flourish in arid and semi-arid regions. By tolerating and thriving in these harsh environments, pioneer species play a vital role in initiating the ecological succession process and creating suitable conditions for other species to colonize the area. In the case of Barren Island, the pioneer species have not only adapted to the challenging conditions, but have also contributed to the transformation of the island's ecosystem. Their presence has led to the accumulation of organic matter, soil stabilization, and the creation of habitats that can support a wide range of flora and fauna. The island now teems with life, serving as a testament to the resilience and adaptability of pioneer species and their importance in shaping and enriching ecosystems. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on future updates.